dirt road off a 2-lane past a shot up county sign. Squeaking of a backyard screen door letting you know that it's
The Putnam Personalities podcast exists to highlight the good, the positive, and the inspirational in our community. This episode is not an endorsement of any political or religious ideology. This podcast is a simple interview to get to know our friends, neighbors, leaders, and colleagues on a more personal level. Sit back, grab some sweet tea, and enjoy today's interview.
like home to me.
Oh, I didn't do my makeup. I'm just kidding. We don't do all that. Okay. Well, I'm glad to have Miss Brittany Goodson with us today. And Miss Brittany, you're running for tax collector. And I have no idea what that even means as a pastor. Well, I know what tax collector is, but as a pastor, I know there's a lot of people in the Bible, like Matthew was a tax collector, and nobody liked him. And I almost feel like you're trying to get a position of a community punching bag because nobody likes taxes. But anyway, I don't know if that really is what your position entails. So first thing I want to do is ask you, what in the world does a tax collector do? What does that entail?
So a tax collector here in Putnam County does a lot more than just collecting the property taxes. Obviously, a long time ago, that was their main job, was collecting property taxes, and it is still a big part of that. However, now they also, if you need a driver's license, if you need your car renewal tag, and they also even do hunting licenses. They do so much in that office. It is so much more than just collecting taxes.
Okay.
And so, yeah, they do a lot. And my most question asked from people is, can you lower my taxes?
Is that not your job?
That's not the job, unfortunately.
Well, I guess we should just end this interview because this is going to be useless. No, I'm kidding. That's cool. That's funny. So at the tax office here in Interlochen, if we have a problem with a teller per se, is that you would be one that kind of like oversees the situation?
Yes, absolutely. So they keep the office running smoothly. They are overseeing the budget of the office, and that's on both ends. The tellers that you go to for your tag renewals, or to pay your property taxes, things like that.
Okay.
The payroll, obviously, they oversee all of the office operations, is what I call it.
Okay. I've actually, now is the tax collector now, are they stepping down or are they running again as well?
She's retiring.
Okay, she's retiring. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who was tax collector when I came. I don't know if it's the same person, but when we came, it was a little more difficult down there. But lately, it's been pretty smooth. My daughters have gotten their licenses there. We've done renewals, things like that. Now, my last daughter, she has to get her license soon. So if you get voted in and she doesn't get her license, I'm going to call you and see if you can help a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But that's neat. So what I don't know the word, I guess, but what caused you to say, hey, I'd like to do this? What kind of background do you have or any of those things?
So my mom actually worked for the county for a very long time, 33 years, I think, is what it ended up being. A large portion of that was at the tax collector's office. So that gave me insight. My dad worked out of town growing up, so I was with her a lot, while she was working. And that gave me the insight of the office and how it runs and things like that, which, I feel like that's what makes me interested, is because I'm able to know the inside of the office a little bit. And also I have a master's in business administration.
Great.
I was the chief financial officer and operations officer for the ARC of Putnam County for like 5 or 6 years. I think it was close to 6 years. And that kind of set me up I feel like that set me up to be successful in this role. It was, like I said, much more than just finance, but it was a major part of my job was the budget, looking over there. At one point, there were close to 80 clients at the ARC that either lived in group homes or in supported living programs, and I oversaw all of their financial accounts as well as the company's financials. Okay. And then I moved the longer you're there, the more jobs you get,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a nonprofit. Excuse me. So I was over human resources, facilities, information technology. There's so many things, and I feel like that really set me up to be successful.
Good. Did you get to meet a lot of the consumers, like one-on-one,
Yes.
spend time with them?
Yes, absolutely. That was like the best part of my day. We had a few who would just like come around to the offices religiously. They just loved to come and see us, and honestly, we loved it as much as they did. It was always
See, our conversation can go now. It can take a totally different turn
Yeah.
because I don't tell a lot of people. I actually worked in an industry like that for a while, and
okay.
I worked for a business called Lookout Mountain Community Services in Chattanooga area. And when I first got hired on, I worked with I had about 20 consumers in our room, and they would come in every day, and we would help them learn jobs. And so up in Chattanooga, there was a company that they did printing on like pens and bouncy balls that light up and stuff, things like that. And so we would get these huge shipments in, and we had to teach them how to take it out of the bag. And literally we had one that they would have to take the ball out of the bag, bang it on the table, and if it lit up, it goes in this box. If it doesn't light up, it goes in this box.
Yep.
And that was our goal. And then so we got to pay them. They got piece pay through all that. Then before I left, it was like the greatest job ever is I got to do the community service hours. And so each resident or each person had to have a certain amount of community hours, because probably when we were growing up, you're younger than I am, but I'm sure you've seen it too. A lot of times a person with a handicap, in the old days, you'd see someone with a handicap and it was like people didn't want them to be a part of our society. And so my job is to like integrate them in so that all of a sudden it wasn't like, it was like, so I enjoyed that. We got to take them to Braves games and movies and museums, and I just every week got to sit down and say, all right, we got to do 20 hours with this guy for this month. What are we going to do? We got to plan activities. And I love it. It was like such a treasured position.
It is.
So.
It is amazing. I actually oversaw the day programs that did both of that. They did community integration, and then they also did work for, they were like, paid at the piece rate by the pieces that they would put together. And some people love working and some people didn't love working, but everyone loved going out.
They love their piecework because you get a check, and some of them were very high functioning, and they get a check for like a couple $100s, and then some would get one for like 50 cents.
Yeah.
They're like, 50 cents? I'm like, you only bounced one ball, man. We try to encourage them to work harder. So.
Yeah.
But awesome.
They just brighten your day. Like you said,
Yes.
I can't imagine. I was in the buddy program in high school.
Okay.
I went to a high school in St. Augustine that actually offered it, and from there I just always loved either helping people with disabilities or just hanging out and volunteering however I could to make their day brighter, but also they made my day so much better. So
we had, my favorite thing was we had a 70s dance party, and so I used to have this big console record player, and I had everybody bring in their favorite records. And this was not like in the 70s either, by the way. This was in 2003 or 4. And so I had this big, huge record player, and we decorated the room, had like peace signs and all these bright colors and stuff. And they came in, they had their headbands, and man, some of those kids could dance some of them were in their 60s and 70s. They could dance, and we had so much fun.
Too.
And sing.
Yeah,
they want to do karaoke, and it was a blast. Well, that's really neat. See?
Yeah.
I know you were nervous about coming on. He's like, I'm not really an interesting person, but see, we found something to talk about. That's cool. So tell me about, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up right here.
Oh, okay.
My mom grew up here in Putnam County, and my dad didn't. He moved all around, but settled here when he married my mom. Okay. And I've lived here ever since. Even though I went to a university in Jacksonville, I just drove back and forth every day. Oh, wow. So.
You said you went to school in St. Augustine for high school, or?
I just did 1 year over there.
Okay. So you graduated from Palaca?
So I graduated from Palaca, yes.
What year was that?
It was 2008,
okay.
I think. Yeah, and my senior year, all of my classes were at the college.
Oh, wow. So. In Jacksonville?
No, here at the community college. Okay. Yeah, I got my 2-year degree here and then transferred to Jacksonville.
A lot of people are doing that now, and I didn't have that option when I was a kid. I was top 10 in my class. Did you know that?
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, we had 10 graduates. Went to a small school, so. Yeah, but
I was going to say, my brother was like top 50. I don't think I made that cut.
yeah, I was top 10. Actually, there was 13 in my class, and I might have been top 12. I'm not sure. I wasn't number 13. I won't tell you who that was, but anyway.
Oh.
But she was much older than me. But anyway, so high school, did you play any sports?
Yes, I was a soccer player,
Nice.
and I did that from the time I was really little. And I also did dance and gymnastics when I was little,
Okay.
which led me to cheerleading in high school.
Nice.
So I was on the cheer team.
I'm sure you can tell I didn't do dance, I didn't do gymnastics, but I did play soccer. Second grade, all the way to my senior year in high school. My very first soccer game, the ball came to me, and I was so excited, and I picked it up and ran for a touchdown.
Oh gosh.
The whistle's blowing. I'm thinking they're cheering me on. And
I've definitely scored on my own team before. Luckily, that was before I got to high school.
yeah, so my school was very small. I think when Mr. Goodwin and Mrs. Goodwin were on here, we talked about this, but we played soccer, and it was pretty much everybody plays because there was no tryouts because they needed everybody,
Oh, okay.
But our final, we went to Florida State Championship, and we were 2 players short because of grades, and so I had to start. I had to play. Now, normally I'm the bench person, but I actually had 2 assists, and we won by 2 points. So I was a very valuable player in that game. So I claim that as my Hall of Fame. But
That's awesome.
anyway, but yeah, I was not always that good. As I got older, I guess I did better. But yeah, I wasn't the MVP for sure. Well, hey, so you played some sports, did cheerleading. That's good. That's cool. Went to community college. You talked about that. Went to Jacksonville. You did that. So I want to show this. I've got your little the sign here, Brittany Roberts Goodson, tax collector, and then you have 3 words on the bottom: community integrity, almost mispronounced it, and commitment. So I want to ask you what each of those words mean specifically to you. So community, what does that mean to you? What do you do in the community and all that good stuff?
So the community is a huge part of my life. I grew up here. This is home to me. And I am involved in the Pilot Club of Palaca, Kiwanis
All right,
Club
stop. Hold on. Pilot Club. What is that?
of...
I haven't heard of that before.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Okay, it's a group that basically all these groups that I'm going to talk about, are community oriented and give back to the community in some way. And Pilot Club, their focus has always been brain health and for people with disabilities.
Oh.
So obviously,
Okay.
it pulled on my heartstrings, and I joined Pilot Club. And it's the clubs that I joined them because it's a way to give back to the community in a big way that otherwise I may not be able to do or know about. So I joined the Pilot Club. I'm now their treasurer. And like I said, people with disabilities, and I believe they're changing their mission this year to expand and just be community oriented.
Now, is it out of Putnam County, or is it a national thing? Or
it is a national thing as well, but here it's the Pilot Club of Palaca, and there's only one Pilot Club in Putnam County.
Okay,
so
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, it's
All
a
right.
great club.
And then keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was like, wait, hold on, what is that?
You're fine. And then Kiwanis Club of Azalea City.
Okay.
And there are multiple Kiwanis clubs in Putnam County. And they are also community oriented. They give back to the youth in the community. They also do other things, but their main focus is kids in the community.
Awesome.
And, I joined that as well. I'm a board member now. I wasn't originally, but now this is my 2nd year as a board member. And they do a lot of scholarships and just supporting different things in the community, which I love. We recently started a bass tournament, and that is a way to give back to kids through scholarships. And then I'm also on the board of Feed the Need of Putnam County, which is a local organization that is a backpack program. It sends food home with kids. There's been like 800, and it ranges, but it's always been over 800 kids throughout the county that need food. And they do monthly food drives and fundraisers, and it's a really great organization that a lady, Denise Bramlett, started.
Okay. I was at Bramlett's yesterday. I had to buy something for our water at the church. So with that being said, that explains why I was going to ask you, do you know Ronald?
Yes.
Okay. So when I walked in there, I saw his picture, and I was like, and then I started to see it was all feed the need. So I didn't know that was her thing. So
yeah, so that
makes
a lot of
sense.
times drop-offs happen there because it's a convenient location in town. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you know how long they've been around?
Feed the Need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I've been a board member for I think like three-ish years.
Okay.
And they were established before that.
Okay.
She's done a really good job.
Cool. Very
making
good.
it sustainable.
Integrity.
So integrity to me is just being honest, and it's kind of like doing what you say you're going to do even when no one's watching, that type of thing. And that's actually how I was recruited for the chief financial officer position at the ARC. I worked with someone previously at Flagler Hospital, and she was the CEO at the ARC here, and she said, I know you have integrity, and I know you can do the job, and I want you to come work for me. And we remained friends, so we would have lunches once a month and stuff like that. So
good. And then commitment. We talked about this. I don't do prep. We just talked real quick. You were coming in the door, and we had I've never met you before.
Yeah.
We had a brief conversation, but you had mentioned that you and your husband have been together for how long?
18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
You met when you were in high school, I guess?
I was, in high school. He was not really in high school. He had dropped out and got his GED, but we've been together since I was 16.
Awesome.
So.
And that's a long time. So there's some commitment there.
Yes,
obviously.
Definitely commitment there.
But what else does commitment mean to you? Like, how does that fall into your campaign?
So it's commitment to do what's best for the community, and always, take everyone's view into account, not just my own. I am committed to the people of Putnam County, whether I am the next tax collector or not. And that's what that means to me.
That's good. And your community involvement shows that.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's
absolutely.
Good. So you were telling me beforehand, you've watched some of the previous podcasts, and you were kind of concerned because you're not really an interesting person.
Yeah.
You don't really have any cool hobbies, but you did say that you like fishing and hunting. I'm like, that's a cool hobby.
Yeah.
So I noticed you came in your husband's big old truck.
Yeah, that's actually my truck. I get that all the time. That's so funny.
So I had to pick on you about that. So fishing and hunting, and you mentioned that you actually got your hunter's license here, safety.
I did.
We do the hunter safety. I think this may be our last year doing. I'm not sure yet. We're working that out, but we don't get paid to do that. We just let them use our buildings.
Yeah.
But they've been using it for a long time. The 12 years I've been here, they've used it for sure, and then before that. So you got your hunter safety course done here, and you go hunting. So
yeah.
All right, so let's brag a little bit. Here's your chance. So where have you been? What's your favorite place to hunt? I guess are you a part of a club or?
Yep, I'm in a club here and in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So we are actually going up there this week to get away for a few days and kind of get things prepped for the season. So that's probably my favorite place to hunt. Just because, we have a camper up there, and that we keep there throughout the hunting season.
Okay.
And it's like a vacation, but it's also like a hunting trip. It's so relaxing. And even here we hunt. It's out past Barden. I don't know.
Okay.
How to explain it other than that.
So brag a little bit. Like, what have you accomplished in your hunting? You have any mounts?
I do.
Okay, what you got?
I do. I have, the only thing I've mounted is an 8-point.
Okay.
But it's a really large 8-point. I'll show you a picture. I can't show pictures on the camera, unfortunately, but I can show you a picture.
That's fine.
Also, one of my favorite things to do, I was so sad I did not get gator tags this year.
Okay.
That's another type of hunting that
so
I love to
gator
do.
hunted?
Yes. Yeah.
And
so I have.
You've got some?
Yep.
Awesome.
I got an 11-footer is my biggest. So, which is big. It was ginormous.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot
So
of
tell me
fun.
how you do that. Like, is this in the middle of the night thing? Or do you do it during the daytime?
Yes, well,
where do you go?
Now they've changed the rules where you can hunt during the day, but this was a few years ago when you could not. It was in the middle of the night. You're like freezing cold and tired.
So you're in a boat. I'm
Yes.
assuming. What kind of boat is like
Yeah.
a John boat or?
No, my husband's actually a fishing guide on the river here, so
Nice.
we use his boat. He also does some gator hunting, but not really.
Okay.
And it's like a 23-foot bay boat. It's a skeeter. So we always just use that, which is good because it's big and makes
I
me.
figured John boat would be a little small, wouldn't it?
I'd be a little nervous in a John boat.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I've seen a lot of people do it, but I'd be.
I was like, maybe
nervous.
crabbing, but maybe not killing a gator.
Yeah, I'd definitely be a little nervous at that. But yeah, you like at night when you're hunting, you have to shine the light and look at the eyes.
With a spear? Okay.
Yeah.
So you got an 11-footer, and then what do? Well, I mean, once you kill it, you get it in the boat.
Yes, you get it in the boat, and then
you strap it down, make sure it's not alive still. Check its pulse.
Definitely.
So, okay.
That's funny you should say that. Actually, one night we had one. It was a smaller one. It was like 8 or 9 foot, and we got it out of the boat when we got home, and it actually started to crawl away. I don't know if we just like stunned it, and it was fine all the way home. I don't know what happened, but
great. So, how do you? I mean, I guess you have to gut that thing.
Yes. So
how do you?
Luckily, my husband takes care of that part.
Okay.
But we do. We get them processed so that nothing goes to waste. We're really big on that.
The? Is it called leather or is it skin?
It's
the
hide.
The hide. Okay.
Yeah.
So you keep the hide.
Yep. Yeah. You get it. It goes through a processor as well. We don't have the tools to do that.
You make boots?
No, I don't. I didn't actually.
Can you sell it? Or?
Yeah, you can sell it.
Okay.
You can make wallets, purses.
Oh, okay.
There's actually a girl that lives close to me, and her husband is one of the owners of God's Country Outfitters, and she makes really cute like watches, bands for the watches, and purses, and all types of things. I didn't get anything made out of mine. Maybe next time.
Okay, well, that's neat. Well, it's next time means you're gonna do it again.
Yes.
So that's actually a good thing. What about so fishing?
Yes.
What kind of do you certain type or whatever you catch?
So I mean, I love fishing in the river here. We bass fishing. Mm-hmm. My son is part of the Florida Nation bass fishing high school. He goes all over Florida, Georgia, fishing tournaments. They actually made it to the state championship this year, him and his partner. So we love to do bass fishing, but I also love to go offshore fishing. Love to catch mahi, redfish.
Awesome.
All of those things. Love snorkeling, scalloping.
So that's cool stuff.
Yeah.
So all these things we're talking about, I have like a funny story for all of them, and I don't know if I should share them or not. What time is it? Maybe I shouldn't.
Share.
Yeah. So let's go back to hunting. I actually went to hunter safety as well. I have my hunter safety card, but I'm not a hunter. And I went with a family in the area. I guess the Shrouders. I don't know if you know the Shrouders. So, so I went with the Shrouders, and they are at Cabbage Creek. And so I'm out there, got my daughters with me, and they do the running of the dogs. Do you ever run dogs?
Yes, we do run dogs.
So we run dogs, and I'm kind of like, this is really cool. I love how this is going. And so we're on this side of the property, and then I guess the dogs, let me think if I get all the right terms. They jump a deer.
Yes, that's what they do.
But then they cross the road, and so they have keys to the other property. They're allowed to use that in case a deer gets over there. So they unlock the gate, we go across, we're watching a little meter thing, and I'm like, all right, so we're standing on the road, and I'm told, okay, when the dog runs out of the woods, we just want to catch the dogs. The deer's already gone. Let's just catch the dogs. Yeah. So we can like get back on our property. And so I'm waiting. Here comes the dog. When the dog runs, just grab it by the collar. I'm terrified of dogs. I'm like, are you serious? So like, just grab it. He won't do nothing. I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm crouched low and I'm waiting, and I hear it coming, and hear it. I mean, it's running through the woods like super fast. I'm like, here it comes, and all of a sudden, the dog jumps out of the woods, and I go to grab it, and then I'm like, whoa, I jump back. It was the deer. And it was like this high off the ground. Like, I have never seen it. Like, this is my first time. And this deer is running at full speed, and it's like literally like a foot off the ground. And it's dodging at me, and I was like, I jumped back, and everybody's like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, don't shoot. And I'm like freaked out. I'm like, I'm about to grab a deer as it's running at me. Then I found out later they have sharp hooves and all these. I'm like,
they do.
Well, good thing I didn't get hit. So I almost caught a deer. I didn't shoot a deer. That was my first time hunting. It was weird. Never been gator fishing, or gator hunting, I should say, or fishing. What was the other thing we talked about? Fishing. Yeah, I'm not a good fisherman either. Or something else that you said I thought was funny. Man. Anyway, I'm getting old. yeah, I enjoy outdoor sports, but I probably more enjoy watching other people. I was there when a girl named Abby Whittington, I think her last name is, she got her first deer, and I got to watch the initiation for that. That was kind of
Yeah, always
weird to
exciting.
me. I was like, oh, but it's kind of cool how that happens. But yeah, it's a whole different environment. It's a whole different way of life, actually.
Yeah,
It does take a lot of time, and
it does a lot of time, a lot of effort. A lot of people don't realize that who have never been. I love running dogs, but I also love still hunting. It's just so peaceful, just sitting out there by yourself.
never done that, but
Yeah, and
sounds
sometimes
good.
you don't see anything, and sometimes you see things, and like sometimes I'll just watch.
So do you bow hunt as well, or
I bow hunt.
oh,
Um,
you hit something with a bow?
yes, I
Nice.
have. Yeah, so a couple times.
That's pretty intriguing. So that's what Putnam to me. I know when you're coming from Green Cove, there's a sign that says something about Putnam County in the rural community or something like that. And I didn't grow up in a rural community. In fact, the rural for me was when my dad was in college. We lived in Gary, Indiana, and we had woods behind our house. And it wasn't a lot of woods, but rural for me was going in the woods and in the snow and collecting things I found in the snow. Like it was just kind of cool, being in the woods as a little kid. Then I got in trouble for doing that because what I thought were little pellets that I could use for like my little cannon to shoot my GI Joes ended up being I had containers full of rabbit turds.
Oh no!
So that I had collected in the snow. My mom's like, "What is in your dresser?" I'm like, "Mom, those are little pellets I picked up in the woods so I can play GI Joes." And she's like, "Those are rabbit poops." I'm like, "What?" And I had like a whole drawer full of them, like little containers full of them.
No.
So like I said, I'm not an outwoodsy. I love the outdoors. I love nature. I love taking pictures, all those things. But I'm just not I'm really dumb, honestly. And heard the word scat, trying to figure out all these things are. I'm like, oh, you can tell different animals by not only footprints, by their poop. And I'm like, this is a whole new life to me. So, but we love living here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a funny story to share, and it totally slipped my mind. So I guess it was meant not to be told. But so what else? Anything else? I wanted to ask you this. Anything in your life? We didn't talk about religion. We're not a religious podcast, but I do like to ask the question: have you had anything in your life happen that you would consider an answer to prayer or a miracle that you can think of? If not, it's
I mean, a lot of little things. But
nothing that just stands out, and
yeah,
that's fine.
Nothing that really just stands
okay.
out. I am, I do believe in God, and I am religious. Hope that's okay to say on here.
Yeah, of course. That's who you are. That's
yeah,
fine. Yeah,
that's right. That's what I told myself when I come on here. Like,
yeah.
You are who you are.
Yeah, we're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if you weren't religious, and you said I'm an atheist, I'm like, okay, well, that's who you are, and we're not here to judge you for that. I'm not here to.
Yeah.
Did you say you believe in? I'm not here to. That's not what we are. But if that's who you are, then there's nothing wrong with saying it.
Yeah.
Of course.
But not. I haven't had anything that is just that I would consider like a huge miracle in my life. I've actually been very fortunate and had a pretty good life. So.
Yeah. Good health, good family,
yes,
healthy children, all that
healthy
stuff.
family, healthy kids.
How many kids do you have?
Everything. I have two. I have a 16-year-old son.
Wow.
Well, he's not 16 yet, but he's counting down the days because he actually goes to get his license next week.
Gotcha.
And I have an 8-year-old daughter. Obviously, I had him very young, so that's why there's such a big age gap.
Yeah. Well, my sister, she had kids getting ready to graduate high school, and then they told her she had cancer.
Oh, wow.
And she literally went to get her test run for cancer, and they go, well, it's not cancer, you're actually pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, and she wasn't expecting anything. So,
yeah.
I mean,
I made it out of high school before I had him, but,
awesome.
not long after high school.
I understand.
So.
Very good. Well, I always give an opportunity. If there's first of all, anything else you want to talk about? Share, talk about anything? If not, whatever, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. I always give an opportunity. If somebody wants to ask me a question, something I've asked you or whatever, you're more welcome to ask.
Like,
and if not, it's no big deal either. Some people don't really care. It doesn't. I've kind of shared a lot of my life, but I always like to. I do that because I don't want people to think I'm putting them on the spot.
Yeah.
So if I've asked you something, then you have the opportunity to ask me the same thing. That way, there, I'm not trying to you know.
No, and I don't think
guard,
that, but I guess
so,
I'm just interested. Like, what are your hobbies? I know you like to go on walks.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, obviously, people see me all the time at
Yeah.
20. But yeah, I like walking. I need to walk, and so that's why I walk. My hobbies, I do like reading. I collect. It's weird. I do collect books. I don't read all of them. Some people ask, "Have you read all these books?" I'm like, "I'm not supposed to just read books. They make a good backdrop." But no, I do read books. So I do that. I like photography. Um, I love photography.
I love photography too, but I'm not great at taking
Right.
the pictures.
Well,
But
here's
I'm
the
sure
thing.
you are.
Right. No. Well, here's the thing. Honestly, you give me a camera. Okay. For instance, the cell phone has been probably my best camera
Yeah.
because I don't know how to make all these adjustments. And I think sometimes because I don't know a lot, like the podcast, the reason I don't edit and the reason it's raw and all, I don't have any fancies because I don't know how to do all that. But I
Right.
still have a hobby, so I do it.
Yeah.
So I would rather just do it and be a hobby than to try to be fancy and be something I'm not, because I'm not a tech guy. So, but I still want to do this. I enjoy it, so I make it happen. With photography, I always look at it as if here's a picture I took. I'm not using any filters. I'm not doing any editing. This is what my naked eye sees, and this is what God created. And
Yep.
that way there, he gets the glory for it. It's not
Right.
like, you're a great photographer. Well, no, it was just a great picture. I took a picture of it. And that's really how I want it to be. I don't know how to make all the adjustments. I'm not a real, I guess I'm not a real smart person. Honestly, that's how I feel.
I'm sure you're smart. But the world is beautiful. So
yeah, it is beautiful.
doesn't
But I
need
just
editing.
find all kinds of things. Yeah, you don't need to edit everything. So I love photography. I try to write poetry sometimes, and it's really not that great. But Dr. Seuss is much better. But yeah, that's kind of those things I like to do. I like taking pictures. I like to
awesome.
write a little bit. I like meeting people, and so I decided it would be great to actually record those meetups and maybe encourage other people. There's a lot of people at home that don't get to get out, don't get to meet people, so this gives an opportunity to get to know people in a different way. That's why I've created like what I feel was like you've probably heard it said before, like a coffee shop setup, kind of like sit down, have a conversation, don't worry about a camera, and then next thing you know, people are eavesdropping on our conversation, and that's really what I want it to be, just something to learn about other people.
Yeah.
I've had people recently say, "Oh, I wish I could get to know someone. Hey, I got a podcast with him." Really? I'm like, yeah. And then you kind of get to know more. I guess that's really. I've collected baseball cards, and like Cal Ripken, Jeff Gordon, things like that. But yeah, I'm not really that an interesting person. I have another podcast in the area where the lady wanted to do the podcast with me, and I would love to, but I'm not an interesting person.
That's funny. That's what I said. I was like, I don't know that I can talk about myself for an hour. I'm not that interesting.
Yeah, I can ask the questions because I enjoy that, but to start asking me questions, I'm like, no one really cares about me. So anyway, well, I guess that we can call that a wrap, I guess.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on. It was nice meeting you. And good to hear about your family, know more about who you are. And now when people are voting, they know who the person is that they're voting for and kind of knows a little bit more about them.
Yeah.
And you are an interesting person. I do appreciate you. The hunting and the fishing, that's this community. That's what we do here. And,
that's why I'm not scared to say it here. Some places I'm like, I love to be outdoors, but in Putnam County, a lot of people.
We have to remember too, once I took the hunter safety, I realized how important it is to have the license and to manage. Exactly. The management is important. And that doesn't just, one, it keeps people from wiping out what we have.
Right.
But two, it also allows us to reproduce what we have.
Yeah, and keep everything healthy.
Yes, keep things healthy.
The
and
environment healthy.
Yes.
It's amazing how it all, one thing helps another, and some people don't realize how it's all interrelated. Yeah. But it is.
Yeah, some people, they do get upset about hunting or, you're hurting an animal. And I get that. I understand that. Yeah. But I believe if we all had open minds sometimes to look at the big picture of why it's done the way it's done, it actually is, it's a healthy thing too.
Yeah, so. I think so too. And I'm very big on like nothing going to waste and everything being used. So.
Well, that's the thing too. It's not about putting a head on your wall.
Right.
It's about having food at your table.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I think some people miss that part of it. And even, I guess this goes another whole long conversation, but even the hunter safety, people don't realize this, but they even tell you like what's appropriate for posting pictures and taking pictures. You don't just throw it all out there. You're appropriate about things because it's about family and it is about preserving the environment and stuff. So
yeah, and it is. It's my whole family enjoys it both.
Awesome.
So.
Very good.